Yes. Welcome back. Thank you, Ray and Shannon, from the lunch break. This is Manon. You're on the Grapevine. Welcome back. Glad you got that sandwich and that juice. We're on the Truth 101.7 radio. Yes, I gotta fix this mic. Milwaukee has talent. Milwaukee has creativity. Milwaukee has hustlers. Milwaukee has brilliant people. But underneath all of that, people are mentally exhausted. People are mentally exhausted. Everybody's building a brand. Everybody's trying to survive inflation, distraction, social media, peer pressure, and emotional burnout. All while this is happening, Milwaukee still faces one of the widest literacy and educational gaps in America. Not because people lack intelligence, but because too many people were never properly equipped. And today on the Grapevine, we're talking healing, literacy, music, masculinity, femininity, peer pressure, peace, and how Milwaukee can evolve without losing its soul. But first, I'd like to send my heart out to Ray and his crew, Larry, for the incident that happened. They will be addressing more of what happened and the fallout of that incident tomorrow. So please stay tuned. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. It is real. It is real. It is real out here. Today was wild. You know, to wake up to that and see that our young kids are walking around destroying property. I do know that I want to extend my efforts and to our crew over there, including Ray, and I want them to know that whatever I can do, whatever the people in my corner can do, then we are here. So allow me to help out wherever I can. I know our kids need it, but also you do too. We're adults and humans. So I got a real case on my hands. So my daughter is going into first grade. Can y'all believe this? Boom, boom. My daughter is 6 years old. She's going into first grade. She came to Milwaukee about a year ago, and she's growing up. She is growing up, and I'm excited to see her do more growing up. So she's going, like I said, she's going in first grade, out of kindergarten. In May she got, thank you so much. In May she got the Student of the Month, and I want to tell everybody that it hasn't been an easy road. My daughter has autism, as so many of you know. She has autism, and there are certain difficulties in relationship to her type of autism that make it a little bit more difficult for learning. And she has overcome so much. She has overcome a lot. So she went from reading a little bit, like the letters and all of that, to being student of the month in May, and then graduating from her kindergarten class with pretty much, for her, exceptional marks. And I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. The wild part about this is, which isn't wild, but she has an extensive vocabulary. So yesterday she used the word formula in proper context. And usually when I find that out and she uses these, highfalutin words, like, where is this coming from? But she's picking this up and she's putting this right in her brain. So I'm excited about how far she's going to go. I don't really have a boundary on, a lot of parents can put boundaries on their kids. I don't have any boundaries on my daughter in relationship to her learning. I just want her to learn as much as she possibly can in the best light that she can learn. She's around a lot of young kids that are of her age, but also have similar abilities and also similar needs. So this young girl she's going to make it. She's going to make it. She's going to be a really interesting young girl. So I'm excited. I'm excited for her, and hopefully people around me are excited that she's going into the first grade. Milwaukee. We do in so many areas. What we do well in so many areas, there are areas in which we don't do well in. And I remember growing up, and my mother brought this to my attention. She said that she remembers when people were excited to learn how to write cursive. Zach, you know how to write cursive?
Yeah, I don't have to use it, or I don't ever use it.
But you still know how. Like it was a part of some type of building block in your language arts.
Yeah, but now that I think about it, I feel like there's some letters I wouldn't know. I don't remember what a X looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's just an X actually, but like you know how some like a F or whatever, or B, like I know one of them is backwards.
Yes. So, and that's what I'm saying is like it's not, at least you can put it together. There are kids.
I could do a signature.
Yes, but there are kids now that don't know how to write in cursive, nor do they know how to read it in cursive. Are you shaking your head saying that you do not? Oh, okay.
Oh, she said,
all right,
yeah,
all right. Just making sure. Yeah. Okay, got you. Yes. So I just want to know how many of us actually know how to read and also write in cursive. This is addressing kind of a wider gap, a larger gap of not just comprehension, but also literacy. There was a I think an article that just came out and talking about in the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel it was talking about how, Zach, did you see that? I'm gonna try to pull it up. It was a article about Milwaukee's gap that's been widening for a long time now. Let's see if I can pull it up. Milwaukee's literacy gap is widening. I think that's it. Let's see what we got. Yes, it says this was actually this was an article a couple of days ago. So it says it's a stark data showing that Fewer than 10% of kindergarten through third grade students in the city are meeting reading targets, and only 15% of fourth and eighth grade students are proficient in reading. That is deep. That is really, really deep. What are we going to do, Milwaukee? Do your kids know how to read? Are your kids actually readers? So Jasmine West 935, I'm going to go back up that way, says, I can read and write cursive. Jasmine, that's dope. And how old are you? City girl, take the number one spot so I can go back to my people. Are there people out here that can actually read and write cursive? I'm just trying to understand. We got a caller on line one. I think I'm okay. Yes, I'm moving so fast right now. Okay. Winky Blue. What's up, Winky Blue?
What's going on with you, guy?
Man,
I couldn't help but to chime in, especially when you're talking about the cursive writing.
Yeah.
This is by design, my man, because like you said, if you cannot write it, you can definitely not read it. And this brings this brings a literacy to our communities. Now, the rural areas never gave up. The suburban schools, only in the inner cities around our country wanted to adopt this. They did the same thing, brother, when it came down to technical trade skills in junior high schools, bringing us into high schools when they removed all of your drill press, all of your welding machines that were preparing children, young people, for a career in the trades. They got rid of all of that. No more wood shop, no more metal shop, no more home economics, something that simple, no more auto mechanics. None of this stuff. They removed it because they had in their minds a different workforce to come into this country. And the people that started this stuff has been long unalive. They dead. They gone, man. But they're looking out for the future of their people. So, and I'm talking about white folk, and maybe some Negroes were duped into believing that it would be better and send our kids to higher education. Well, higher education can never, ever come into my house and get the sewage out if it's bagging up in my basement. Electricians, carpentry. We got kids now that don't even know how to read a ruler, man. So you definitely on point, brother. They got rid of this here stuff and they're pushing that, especially the cursive writing, because now you can take a bad officer that can write something in cursive and put it before a kid that can't even read it.
Around me safe when I vape? Science does not support that belief. Exhaled vape emissions linger in the air, affecting indoor air quality and bystanders in the same space through secondhand exposure. Vaping emissions can also accumulate on clothes, hair, dust, and furniture, leading to exposure risks to bystanders of all ages. And vaping around a pregnant person can lead to serious health impacts on fetal and childhood development. Enough with the puff. Learn more at ul.org/vaping.
Yes. Welcome back to the Grapevine. We're about to get right back into this education topic because it's important. I want to know how many people in the chat. Hit us up on the chat. If you're not in the chat, get in the chat. The chat is busy with Baybar, Jasmine West, Anita Nickel 06. Who else we got up in here? Hit that. I'm shouting y'all out. Not really a city girl. She just was like, bing, I'm here. Bing. Good. Hey, y'all, keep it going in the chat. Whatever you're talking about, talk about it. It's good. And, before we begin and get into that topic of education, our American Family Insurance is a proud sponsor of The Truth. For almost 100 years, they've been committed to helping families protect what matters most: your home, your vehicle, and the dreams you're building every single day. And if you're a part of The Truth audience, you already know you work hard for yours. That's why having the right protection in place matters. American Family helps you stay ready for whatever life brings, so you can focus on moving forward. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly with American Family Insurance. Get a quote or find an agent at amfam.com. Let's get into this topic right now, let me ask y'all a question. Who actually had wood shop? I want to know, did anybody have like the extracurriculars, wood shop, metalworking, I guess what we call metallurgy, who home ec? I remember having home ec, and it was interesting because home ec was where you, as a boy, you honed your skills just in case, you had to take everything. You had to be at home, and your parents were working. And at the time, I know I started getting to the point where I was more latchkey. Parents have started to work a little more outside the home, and that phase out of the parents being in the home was on in full effect. My parents were outside the home because they had to work, and we would come back and eat and do what we had to do. Blake, we on line one. What's up, Blake?
What's happening, man?
Chilling. What's up, Blake?
Much praises to you giving them young men grace. We need a little grace in our life. I understand everybody want everybody to be punished. Now, that can happen if they make another mistake, but you gave them grace, especially dude that's already on paperwork. Mm-hmm. Okay, moving forward. I graduated in '89, so therefore I went to Wilbur Wright. I had shop class, so we made the plastic windshield scrapers. We made the little bull. We made our initials. We made a lot of stuff in shop class, and then once I went to Vincent, I had home ec. They had Mecca. They had DECA. They had the Honor Society. They had the ROTC. They had driver's ed. We had art. That was like before we even had our first 4 units of gym. But I had all that home ec, everything, and now they don't have none of that. I remember even in driver's ed, you go in driver's ed class, they had the little fake steering wheels with the clutch in it, like the little monitor thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Remember that? And they had the screen on the wall, and they put the screen on. You rip the clutch out, finding out if you're doing it right or not.
Yeah.
I was like, we went to school when it was fun, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The only thing I used to hate was because I was left-handed. And I did everything on the right side, but I threw my left hand, so it was hard to find a left-handed glove.
Yep.
But in high school, like in Vincent, you had to go down to the bottom of the 13 foot with that 5-pound brick.
Yep.
I took a U. Yeah. I had Mr. Brothers at Vincent. I took a U because I was not going back down there, even though I learned how to swim at Moody Pool. I was like, give me a D. And dude was like, you go down, Blake, you don't get those towels. I was drying off with the dryer thing. I was like, so what? But I graduated, and from Vincent in '89, I missed a quarter of a credit, and I ended up having to go to Custer. Yeah. So when I went to Custer, that's when we had health and home ec. So you can do like half the credits you get health, and the other half you get home ec. Then you got to do gym. They once they started letting you do just gym credits, that's when you can sit up in your clothes and tell the girls, you're like, I ain't getting in the pool. I got my beard. We like, we don't care. We just trying to see the hair on the side of y'all suits. We was stupid. We was kids. We was real kids. You know what I'm saying? We wasn't like they are now, man. We was just trying to, have a girlfriend, and then when the dope hit, and then the weed was always around, but when the cocaine hit in the '80s and '85, and then it went from cocaine to crack. Yeah. Like we used to be at Vincent, and we had the 1,000-pack of school paper. Yeah. But then halfway through the school year, once that work hit the streets, everybody that had no school paper, we was bagging everything up in little Debbie boxes, and then the world changed. Yeah, it did. It did. The world did change, man. This is crazy. Thanks, Blake. I really appreciate it. Anita Nickel said I had wood shop, home ec, photography development, all at Robert Fulton Middle School. Dang, class of '88, Marshall High School, DECA, broadcasting and home economics, class of '92. This is wild. Yep, wood shop in middle school and home ec in high school. I'm telling y'all, you're right, Blake. Like, yeah, the crack epidemic was real. It was real hard hitting. A lot of families got broken up. And I knew guys that were selling to their parents. That type of work was being. It was crazy. It was being done. But it's
and I knew guys who had to do it in order to feed their brothers and sisters. And, that was just how it went. But in reality, to your point, we had a lot of interest in our schools, from home ec to multiple gym classes. Some schools even had gym every day.
I would have loved to take a wood shop class. I never had the opportunity.
And that's what I'm saying, Zach. Like, wood shop taught you at the very least how to use a ruler, and at the very least how to use a hammer and a nail, a hammer and a saw and a nail and a screw and a screwdriver and a flathead. It taught you like just the basic stuff so you can get by. Like, that's if you just had that, you could go anywhere in the world and just use those particular basic skills. And now our kids barely know how to take, and I'm saying you, because you do this, but barely know how to take the back off of their CPUs. Like, that's, or even you got kids now who don't know how to open up their own Nintendo game boxes or whatever you call it, right? Like, that's huge. So, Jasmine West said advanced art all 4 years. She had piano, drama, baking, choir. Like, all of that is being gone. So MPS, it's going through a budget crisis. I pulled something up. Milwaukee Public Schools, Milwaukee Board of School Directors approved a $1.6 billion budget for the 26-27 school year. That's coming up. That cuts more than 269 classroom positions while adding 159 teaching positions and about 140 paraprofessionals. Parents and educators are pushing back hard, raising concerns about vacancy rates and potential school closures. Yes, there's probably going to be there are some school closures, and there's going to be a lot more fallout from this. We'll see what happens. I wonder how many private schools are going to be popping up, not private in terms of like large scale private schools, but primer schools, like schools that have a max capacity of 10, those types of schools. I wonder how many schools are going to be popping up. And I wonder how many people are going to be actually self-funding some of these schools. I know there's a lot of them in and around, Milwaukee. There's some that are going to be funding, that are getting funded by private entities. So I'm just interested in all of that. It's going to be a real show. Yes, a real show. So I hopefully we'll get some people. Robert, line one. Robert.
Yes.
What's up, Rob?
Yeah, hey. How you doing, man? You know what? I wonder why you could see on the internet how the CIA infiltrated our communities with drugs and all. Why we can't get reparations back from that? And the way these school systems, if they cut all these programs, why they need all this money?
Yeah.
But, I just wanted to say that, man, and we in trouble, man, and I feel for our young brothers and sisters. That's why I try to, reach one and teach one, man, because they don't have the love. They don't have that fatherly guidance. I have a son, man, and I try to give him as much love and as much understanding and knowledge that I can give him, man. And I show him the streets, and I show him, and I tell him, you don't want to be on this corner. Be behind a desk, be behind a bus, a tool or something, man. But he's going to be something because he don't have a choice. And that's tough love, and I tell him I love him, but I also show discipline. God bless y'all, man, and hopefully we can get these young brothers and sisters together.
Yes. I definitely appreciate it. Hopefully we get some more brothers and sisters together. But we're going to take a break, and you guys go get some juice and come right back so we can pick some of these grapes.
Denied VA benefits or Social Security disability? Hurt on the job.
Yes. That chat is going down. Hey, thanks, Sherwin. Hey, you got it going in. This is crazy. They are continuing that conversation from earlier today. Thank you, sir. I definitely appreciate it. Let me see. We're gonna get to that in a minute. But right now, I want to tell you all that we have King Kamanzi coming in today. He's coming through. He's gonna bless the mic. We got a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about, especially education. He's a teacher also, so I know he's always teaching. Listen, this has been a whirlwind of a day, and I want to know how many of you have had the opportunity to take in some of the extracurriculars, not the extracurriculars that they talk about on the chat. This is funny though, but the extracurriculars in school, such as home ec, wood shop, metallurgy, DECA, all that. Swim. How many of you have had swim class in the inside of your school? How many of you have had gym multiple times per week? Those were times when no, you all keep going on that chat now. Sherwood, keep going. How many of you have had the opportunity to take in some of those activities in school? I remember making a chair. I remember making a chair. I held onto that chair probably for about 20 years. And it was a chair that I forgot my wood teacher's name, but he had a chair that you took apart. We made it, but you could actually take the seat out and put it in the back, and then take it with you wherever you need to go. And then we were able to take the chair out and push it in and do other things with this particular chair. I mean, I made a broom. I made so many other things. So, Anita, you said you had swim in high school. Can you swim though? I mean, because I know some people that had swim that still can't swim. So if you can swim, then you doing your thing. But swim in high school did teach a lot of people how to swim. Sherwin said, I had swim lessons in high school, 4 years, still can't swim. Hey, look.
Bruh.
Look. Yeah. Sherwin, look, this is what we're gonna do. This is the easiest way to learn how to swim. Me and you gonna roll. We're gonna hit a vacation one of these months, and we're gonna go to the ocean. We're gonna hit the ocean, and we're gonna hit that ocean. That's the best way to learn how to swim. Is
Don't
you hit
you
the
put
hit
that
the
evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Oh, stop it. This is the best. That's the best way. Hey,
hell no.
Zach, can you swim? Oh, that's a problem.
Hell no.
That's a problem. It's okay. The salt.
Hell no. To the no. Hell to the no.
The salt water will hell. You're not gonna you're not gonna sink to the bottom.
Hell no.
Never mind. Forget it. Forget it. Braybar said I had detention and homeroom in school. Yes, detention and homeroom together. Detention and homeroom. That's crazy. I remember having detention and homeroom, and they used to hold people back. Some schools, they would, if you didn't complete those detentions, they would hold you back. So you'd have to go to summer school or would do something in the summer, clean the school in order to make sure that you had satisfied all your detention marks. Crazy. But back to the beach, Zach. You welcome too. MPS. Tell us. I need somebody to call in from MPS and give us a shout on Truth Radio 101.7. Call in 833-212-1017. I know we have a number of teachers listening because a lot of y'all are out of school and you're probably in your classrooms, cleaning up them classrooms, trying to figure out whether or not you're going to come back for next year. how many teachers are actually going to come back for next year? Because what I'm looking at is they said there's a $1.6 billion budget for next. That means the budget ain't really grew in however many years. Am I right or wrong? I could be completely wrong, but I think the budget is pretty much stayed the same, or it's dropped. It's dropped. Okay. Yeah. So MPS faces a potential cumulative deficit of $420 million over the next 5 years. So it's driven by rising costs, falling enrollment, and limits on state funding. There's probably so much behind those ingredients right there. There's a lot of talk going on in the MPS system that we're not even privy to, but we'll see if we can get some people from the educational system to discuss this information. I really want to know what's going on, because it is affecting our children. So it says the good news, the budget does fund a dedicated team focused on Black and Latino male achievement, gender identity and inclusion, and positive behavior and restorative practices. Yeah. Woo. What do y'all think? So there's a fund dedicated. It's dedicated to focus on Black and Latino male achievement, gender identity and inclusion, and positive behavior and restorative practices. One thing I do know about the positive behavior and restorative practices is that they do that a lot in Minnesota. So rather than proving to put people in prison or in jail, they do a lot of like therapeutic restorative positive behavior improvement practices in Minnesota, from what I know. So some of their incarcerated individuals are going through a lot of therapy and the likes. It's not as punitive as it is here in Wisconsin, but I do know that part works. I don't know what the issue is behind our Milwaukee's positive behavior and restorative practice. I would love to know if anybody knows somebody that knows somebody, please tell that person to call in. As we're waiting for King Kamazi to come through, we're gonna have a lot to discuss. I might even start with a freestyle. I mean, I ain't gonna freestyle. I might freestyle with him. I might throw out a couple words. I was reading something else, and I was wondering about housing affordability and the racial gap. And I was thinking, what is there information about the housing affordability and the racial gap? And it says Milwaukee alone needs an estimated 72,000 housing units for people earning under $15 an hour. That's wild. So if you are a developer, if you are a person that has housing, that's a huge opportunity, because Milwaukee alone, just Milwaukee, needs 72,000 housing units for people earning under $15 an hour. That is very, very interesting. That's very interesting. So it says Black Wisconsinites, just in Wisconsin, are 11 times more likely to experience homelessness than their white counterparts. Ken Wan, what's up?
Hey, good afternoon, brother. This is my first time calling.
What's up, Ken?
Change. I just want to let you. What's going on, brother? First time calling since the change. I just want to let y'all know I'm proud of y'all. Keep doing it. It was a little dry in the beginning, but y'all working it up. It's on point. As far as the swimming is concerned,
yeah.
I put my kids in the YMCA when they were 7 months old.
Yeah.
And I put them in the water. And they've been in the water ever since. And I just wanted to tell you, too, brother, there is a very big difference between swimming in a pool
swimming in the lake
I know.
and swimming in the ocean.
Yeah, it is.
So my children, I had to make sure, because we travel a lot in a lot of places with the ocean. So
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure my children didn't just know how to swim, but they knew how to swim in the ocean.
Yeah.
They knew how to swim and understand, like you said, the buoyancy of a ocean and the lake and the differences in the water. So
Yeah.
I just want to let you know, man, there is a difference. So y'all,
It
just
is.
because you can swim in the pool don't mean hop your butt in the lake or in the ocean.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the
You feel when you jump in the lake and you feel that seaweed touching your feet,
Yeah.
you gonna panic.
Hey.
You gonna think it's something trying to get you.
yeah, or you jump in the ocean. I remember being in the ocean, and me and my daughter, we were in the ocean, and a shark, small shark, was right by my leg. It grazed my leg, and I just picked her up, and I was like, I'm out of here. I'm out. Let's go. I jumped out the water.
Me and mine went on a jet ski, and she wanted to go out to the boats. And I'm telling her, the boats are way bigger than they appear.
Yes.
So we go out here, and I see a sea turtle. I saw a sea turtle, and my whole dream is to hold on to a turtle and ride it underwater, right? I jumped off the jet ski into the water and swam down to catch the turtle. And as I'm going down, brother, I realized me and this giant turtle was the smallest thing in the ocean. Yeah, I got my black butt up out of there.
It's funny because it's a difference. Black people know when to run. That's a place where to run. Like a shark or a sea turtle, and then you see everything else underneath the ocean. You're like, yeah, I'm out of here, man. I'm done. Yeah, you get to run real fast, right?
Yeah, I had a full-out panic attack, bro. I jumped on the jet ski. I gunned it. Bro, all the way to the beach. I did not let loose. The people was on the beach waving their arms like, no. Man, I didn't stop until I slid up on that damn sand, bro. Y'all have a good one.
Yo, kid, take care, man. Oh, Al, what's up?
Hey, good evening. I heard you say they say we need 72,000, but my question is this: why is it when it comes to black people, and I don't care about whites because we already got whites living on the north side, okay?
Okay.
That's why everything is going down. But why is it when it comes to affordable housing, it's always a black woman with a roller set with her pearly whites? Do these politicians and some of these white folks think the only thing black people are good for is paying cheap rent that's going to keep them destitute and impoverished? Why, instead of pushing all this low-income housing, y'all can call it affordable if you want to, but I'm going to call it low-income housing because we're looking like Baby Rockford and the slums of Boulay, whether you like it or not, be offended. Why these politicians ain't pushing some type of education, some certification so you can buy you a house through the housing resources, or you can buy you a house through the bank and get a 201(3) loan where you pick the contractors and fix the house yourself. Rather, they selling these houses for $30,000 to outside companies since we're the duplex capital of the world. But for some reason, when it comes to the inner city, especially the north side, we want to throw all these affordable houses up when we're going to have more garbage, more Malibus, more Centras, and when the property value's going down. Yes.
Yeah.
And don't forget the Plymouth minivans that they bought from Wauhegan Auction that's missing the hell light in the back window was busted. Because whoever you was messing with bust your windows because you wasn't up on your simping while you cold you was pimping when you was jumping from bed to bed being messy. And they're going back to affordable housing just like they got that low income on 15th and North Avenue where the parking lot is straight dirt.
Al, thank you. I really appreciate it, man. Really appreciate it. You made a good point that Milwaukee has a lot of duplexes. We do. And we do need more housing units. You made also a good point in relationship to people need to, and maybe it's a program where people need to learn how to build their own house. And they don't need some people don't need large houses. Some people now they have tiny homes. They have 3D homes. They have, different types of homes. They have.
Email homerblowfoundation@gmail.com or call 414-248-4954.
In sitcoms, when someone has a problem, they just blurt it out and move on.
Well, I lost my job and my parakeet is missing. How was your day?
But the real world is different. Managing life's challenges can be overwhelming. So, what do? We get support. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have mental health resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. See how much further you can go when you take care of your mental health.
Yes. Welcome back to the Grapevine. I'm Anan Sabir, and we're in the Truth Studios, 101.7, The Truth Nation. And guess who we got? A very, very special guest in the building. King Kamazi. He is one of the more progressive artists in Milwaukee. I don't need, if I give him an introduction, and I usually try to give people introductions. If I give him an introduction, it might do us some injustice. So I don't know if we can get him to freestyle for about 30 seconds to introduce himself, because I know that he always got one in the clip and two in the chamber.
No, it's never a problem. We got a beat, or is it a cappella? How we doing this?
We got a Yeah, we got a beat.
Let's go.
Hey, you know what? Can we go a minute?
We can go as long as you want. We can go 3 hours if you want.
Hey, look. Here we are with King Kamazi. He gonna introduce himself with a freestyle. I'm gonna let him go, and then we're gonna cut it. We're gonna give it 2 minutes. 2 minutes on the jack.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Turn up the volume of the beat just a little bit in the headphones. Give me a little volume. All right. I said 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3. They asked me to freestyle for my introduction. I had to do it right now cause I'm in production. They can see me, here's the way to flow, the way to go, the way to know I'm the truth like the radio. You know me, I'm Cool Monzi. I'm rolling through your city like a tsunami. Right through your visuals, you watch me. It's like from Kenya, Somali. I started off the Kali tribe in the 80s though, and then I graduated into a greater flow, and then I became one of the best verbalists. 10 years later, I'm a herbalist, then a teacher, stop the rate that's murderous. As an herbalist, no preservatives. It's like I'm like Manan Sabir though, and they can hear me with it. Clear flow, careful. So many tears, they be tearful. If you be cheering right now, you be cheerful. They ask me to explain myself. Right about now, I can't maintain myself. I'm a Milwaukeean, but I'm also an African. When it comes to freestyle, I'm also a champion. I never had one record that went platinum, but it don't matter cause I smash any track again. You can give me a beat for 2 hours, it doesn't matter. I'm the true power, like God Allah, like I'm Amin Ra, Rastafari. You can say that I'm with Jah, holistic, prolific, so gifted. Freestyle is so lifted, not Christmas, but yeah, it be so gifted. They want to see me right now like I'm so splifted, but I'm sober though, top soldier flow. They want to hear me overflow, then we overthrow any government when we running it. And I'm so ancient, my freestyle is the Ark of the Covenant. And you could be a Muslim from Jerusalem, a Nubian to prove again, yeah, I can root again. And they can see me like I'm back in the day. Call me Muhammad Ali, not no Cassius Clay, not no colonizer, but they can say that I'm a freestyle too wiser. In other words, cause I'm too fire. I had to murder 2 liars, too higher. It doesn't matter, I'm the truth sire. And they can king me the emperor, heat up like the temperature, soul adventurer. So you can remember the brother who just writes these lyrics like it's calligraphy. I mean, I even took Sicily from Italy, like I was Hannibal, smashing down on Rome again. Burn fire upon the Babylonian. freestyle on the microphone again. More than 2 minutes because you caught me in the zone again.
Woo! Listen, y'all. One thing I do know about this brother is that one thing I know about you, and before we got 2 minutes before we introduce a song of the day, this is what you do is not just what you do. It's who you are. And I was talking to somebody today, and I know you're not just a consummate professional for your brand, right? Because you have many different brands, but you're a consistent worker. You're a consistent hard worker. So whenever you see a bullseye, you're like, I'm going to hit it.
Try my best.
Or try your best.
Yes, sir.
And it's going to continue to hit the bullseye
until
you do it.
Right.
And if you guys really want to know, real Milwaukee hip hop knowledge, you're a walking historian for Milwaukee hip hop. And you're not afraid to say it. And this is, I'm giving you seeds. No, forget the flowers.
Right.
We don't do flowers.
Right.
We do seeds. We water the seeds.
That's right.
And they bloom into the grapevine.
Yes, sir.
But what I do also know is that you use this ancestral power,
yes, sir,
to build all of the things that you've built. And we're going to get into that, y'all. So our song of the day is called Pretty Woman. Yeah. Zach is going to pull it up. You got it? Our song of the day is called Pretty Woman by MJ. Today's Truth 101.7 song of the day. Brother Zach, let's pull it up, and then we're going to get back to our brother.
Yeah. Yeah. This how we gonna do this right here. Pretty woman, it's something you should know. I ain't one of them, baby, I'm him, and that's one thing for sure. Yeah. Pretty woman, oh, it's almost time to go. Ooh, and I got a lot of options, baby. Oh yeah, yeah. So don't be moving slow. Yeah. Pretty woman. Oh yeah. I need you for sure. Oh yeah. I got a late night plan. Oh yeah. And it's something you can't ignore. Oh, pretty woman. Oh, I'ma leave you wanting more. Hey, yeah. Pretty woman. Oh, I want you the most. Hey, pretty woman. I make them crazy, have them beating down my door. Yeah. I know you ain't met a real one like me. Just go with the flow. Pretty woman, it's last call, and this joint about to close. Finish that whiskey, baby. So put your number in my phone.
Milwaukee History 101. Milwaukee history back when they started that. 2 turntables, a mic with the starter pack. Playing all night in the park, an insomniac. Capital to national, clock the city like Final Act. You missed your window to eat, honor that. I missed the window, speech, Thomas track. Milwaukee on my back and they call me the god of rap. Pause.
I don't gotta
rap. The first record I heard played by Doc B. Pioneers, DJ Blade and Rock D. Jack Master D. DJ Wolf D. Remember Kid
You ever heard this song before?
Nah.
Royal Dynasty.
We on the air, we not on the air?
We on the air.
Okay, good. Did the audience can hear this song too in the background?
Yeah.
That song is called Milwaukee History 101. And if you listen to it, I don't know exactly how many names, but there's about 188 names of Milwaukee rappers, DJs, producers, and engineers, and radio personalities and DJs in that song. It's called, and so it's on YouTube, not the video.
Yeah.
From Milwaukee 101 Hip Hop History. So a lot of names I just named, some people aren't even here anymore, like the late great Twan Mack, T.A. Wiz, Buck 05, and I could go down the list. You know, and that basically was a chronological breakdown of Milwaukee history. You know, through hip hop, seen through my eyes from the 80s, 90s, 2000s to the present.
Man, this is amazing. This is so in your mind, you know that song, and you know all of that history.
I know the history, but you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I'm 55. I don't got the best memory. Not saying that I'm old, but I took it not just on myself, because again, I'm one of the hip hop historians.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna ask.
Right.
You.
Yeah.
There's
Exactly.
people before me. There's people after me.
Yeah.
People like Dr. B came before me.
Yeah.
You know, people like a lot of people in this era obviously came after me. So I actually consulted a lot of people because I probably could, off the top of my head, run off about 100 names, maybe more. But there were so many names. So when I recorded that song, right, it was like people kept on saying, wait a minute, what about such and such? And then my engineer was laughing because I literally went back to the studio 4 times. The first time, initially, I laid the verse down with about 100 or so names.
Yeah.
And then I forgot some important names. And it had nothing to do with the importance, and there's no disrespect. It just that happens. And I didn't want to misrepresent history, and I didn't want that to get left off the records.
Yeah.
So, you know, people, I would call Doc B up. I'd call other people up, battle rappers. I called DJs. Yo, who you remember is the DJ who influenced you? Well, such and such was before me. The names came out the woodwork. Names like DJ Supreme, Jack Master D, names like Rock D, you know, Fresh G, you know, and Kid Beatbox, you know. So the names kept on going.
You've been in hip hop for a really long time.
Yes, sir.
Where were you born?
Funny thing is, I was actually born in Los Angeles, California, but I can't claim L.A.
Yeah.
We left when I was 2. So I'm strictly Milwaukee, you know, influenced Milwaukee. I don't have any memories of when I was, you know, born in Los Angeles.
Right.
So you might as well say, born in California, Los Angeles, crazy, right?
Yeah.
Raised in Milwaukee, so Milwaukee all day.
Why L.A.?
My father actually had a job. My father's from Kenya.
Yeah.
I think he had just got a teaching job at UCLA. He was young, and I think he moved us out there. Because he didn't have any base in America. He's from Kenya.
Yeah.
So we ended up moving to Los Angeles, Chicago, Gary, then Milwaukee. Yep. But I can't. But I was raised in Milwaukee, so all those other places I can't really claim, and I don't claim.
What's your earliest memories of hip hop?
The earliest memories, my uncle, my father's brother. I was riding a 10-speed bike. I was too small. So I had to stand to pedal it.
Yeah.
Because it was a grown-up bike, and I probably was like maybe like 9 or 10.
Yeah.
And I remember he had a song, man, and he's straight from Kenya.
Yeah.
Full-blooded African. He had a record, Rapper's Delight by Sugar Hill Gang. And he didn't have the little small 45, he had the big joint. I remember it was yellow. Because after that, I kept on buying them same records by Sugar Hill Gang, and they always blue with the Sugar Hill Gang logo. But that one, the first Rapper's Delight was a yellow label I bought. And when I heard Master G, Big Bag Hank, who actually took Grandmaster Caz, that verse from Grandmaster Caz, but that's history.
Right.
Wonder Mike, off top. Like the first time seeing Jordan play basketball, or seeing Marcus Allen play football, or seeing Bruce Lee do. That's what I want to do, off top.
Yeah.
You know, Master G's voice was so smooth. And I'd heard a little bit of rap before, but he had the record, so I could play it. I heard it on the radio. I didn't have any rap records at the crib, so I could play it back and forth, and I studied that Rapper's Delight for hours, for days.
What was the one line that struck your heart? That was like, okay, this is the one. Like, I can listen to that one 2-line, 3-line bar like,
You know what? It was actually funny because there was a lot of lines in that. The one that stuck out is when, and I forgot who was saying it, which MC. Have you ever went over to a friend's house to eat where the food just ain't no good?
Yeah.
I mean, the macaroni mushy, and the chicken tastes like wood. Yeah, I'll probably be just butchering. That was it.
Yeah.
Because that was it. And that was a story, even back then.
Yeah.
And then, but it's crazy because Knicks just won the championship, right? I can remember I got a color TV so I can see the Knicks play basketball. You know what I'm saying? In that. So it was a lot of little bars, but the one about the go to a friend's house to eat where the food ain't no good, that's classic.
Yeah.
You know, and then, or hotel, motel, holiday inn. If your girl starts acting up, then you take her friend. You know, no disrespect to the women out there, you know, but those lines stood out, you know. But that's an iconic song for me, a game changer. Definitely game changer.
In that you were in school, of course, learning and, you know, dedicating your life to education, whatever your parents could do.
Right.
And you know, there's a cross section in your life that always blends hip hop and education.
Yes, sir.
And you are an educator. When we think about your life in that cross section, what was the first book that you read that was like, okay, this is you know, I'm turning my life over not just to hip hop, but to educate myself on the history of my people and beyond?
You know what? It's a lot of books. So I got to actually, it's crazy because my parents used to have bookcases.
We got time.
Because they were both educators, professors. So they had their books for the academic studies, and then they had their personal books. It was the personal books, a lot of books about Marcus Garvey, a lot of books about Africa, about socialism, about Che Guevara, a lot of books. But the one that really caught me was in my teenage years because, to be honest, I used to be real deep into science fiction books.
Really?
I was Star Wars, all of that. But what you just asked me was specifically about what did I read that made me want to study and research the knowledge of my people, knowledge itself. And I forgot who the artist is. There's a book that's talked about the 3 empires of Western Africa, the Songhai Empire, the Kingdom of Mali, and the Kingdom of Ghana. And by the way, when I say Kingdom of Ghana and Kingdom of Mali, those, even though they're names of respective countries now, those were empires back in the day who were more than just the geographical location of those countries. They were like 4 or 5 countries right now in the region. And of course, Mansa Musa, one of the richest African kings in history. And it's crazy because as much wealth as he had when he went on his pilgrimage to Mecca across the Sahara Desert, he distributed so much money free to the people, gold coins, right? That in Cairo, it is said that the price of the gold coin devaluated for 13 years after he left because he put so much gold in circulation to the people who needed it. Unlike opposite of the people who have money this nowadays, the floss, the braggadocious. I got paper, I got gold. He's a cat. They said he had a gold nugget so big, they used to tie a rope around it and it could hold his horse down. It could weight his horse down so his horse wouldn't run off. Mansa Musa. But more importantly than the gold, it's what the Kingdom of Mali, what they established in the Kingdom of Mali. The crime was at an all-time low. We're talking about, hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
We're talking about a civilized society. And I know in Islam it's deep because, in Islamic countries, certain times, and this is not no knock on Islam, but, women might not get access to the same thing. And that has nothing to do with the Quran. That's how it's interpreted.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm not disrespecting Islam. Like, I'll never disrespect Christianity. But, for instance, the KKK don't represent Christianity.
Right, exactly.
But yet they got a cross.
Yep.
So everybody with a crescent moon and 5-point star don't represent Islam.
Yeah, that's true.
There's certain extreme societies.
People that speak Arabic that aren't us always Muslim or represent the Islamic
Come
faith.
on now. Yep. And even word to Pops. You know what I'm saying? Muhammad Sabir, because, as an Ahmadiyya, I remember, I'm not an Ahmadiyya, but I remember the Ahmadiyya movement. I remember at one time the people in Mecca were trying to claim that they weren't allowed to practice Hajj and pilgrimage. Like, who are you to say who's Muslim and who is not?
Right.
You know, and I always remember that because your pops, that's where you probably got the podcast ability. He used to be on that show with the other older brother dropping gems, bombs, and mental missiles. What? And mental missiles. But it was like, to get back to this thing about Islam and the Islamic society in West Africa and the Kingdom of Ghana, women could go to higher education on the same. Again, men and women are not the same. They're different, but they're still equal.
Yeah.
And I say that men are obviously is yin and yang, but we're different. Different but equal. They have a different role. We have a different role. Psychologically, physiologically. But anyway, so I just want to say that those books about Western Africa, Kingdom of Mali, Kingdom of Songhai, Mansa Musa, those got me fascinated. Because, see, one thing with our black youth is we got to stop starting our history with slavery. Because let's say, for instance, let's look at Malcolm X's life, right? Now, we all know Malcolm X, before he went to prison, he was a pimp, drug pusher. But that's not what we know Malcolm X for.
Right.
What if I started Malcolm X's whole story, I started and stopped with him as a pimp and him going in prison? And I didn't talk about the El Hajj Malik. I didn't talk about the Malcolm who was a spokesman for the Nation of Islam. I didn't talk about him as a fisherman of lost souls and black youth. I just talked about his criminality part, which is a small portion of his great, vast life.
Right.
That's the same thing people do to black people in the historical context is you start with slavery, or you pay so much emphasis to slavery, you forget all the greater things. Remember, slavery wasn't African history. It was a disruption of African history.
And we'll be right back. Look, this chat is going wild. Look, we're going to come right back, get something to eat, and keep tuning in.
Make your home and family safer by properly getting rid of nasty chemicals and fire hazards. MMSD's Home Hazmat program offers 3 drop-off centers that are open all year long. It's fast and easy.
Everything costs but love is free.
Woo!
Everything costs but love is free.
So you were so I was thinking as we were talking.
Yes, sir.
You were a teenager and you started to wake up.
Yes. Yeah.
What teacher in your school? Because I know you were in MPS, right?
You know what? And this is deep because, all right, I was in MPS in 8th grade. In 8th grade, after I graduated from 8th grade, I was supposed to be going to Rufus King, playing football, all of that. My parents got divorced. I moved to Madison, Wisconsin in 85. Major mistake. My parents saw that I was starting to, get into some little things, some gang activity, street stuff like that. And they moved me to Madison thinking they'd get me away from it, not even knowing that at that point in Madison, you had families straight from Chicago came right to Madison.
Oh, yes,
bypass. I'm talking about we have whole project families that cousins, aunts, that came from a certain project. So obviously they brought a certain culture with them. So I tapped in with the Lords, Vice Lord Nation, got into some trouble. So in high school, I got kicked out of 3 high schools. In fact, since we be transparent, I don't even know if you know this, Manan.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, be transparent. We good.
And this is maybe why I relate to some of the youth like I do. I never graduated from high school. I was locked up. In fact, I got kicked out of schools in Madison. I got sent back to Milwaukee because remember I came to Madison in 85 from Milwaukee.
Yeah.
From about 85 to 87, accumulated so much trouble, crime, hitting a police officer, all type of stuff. Then my father took me to live with him and I started going to Riverside. I had got my life back on track, right? Then something happened at Riverside where they had jumped one of my partners and they said they were going to jump me next. So I brought an ill-advised firearm to school, got caught, went to Wales for 2 years, disgraced my family. Remember, I come from educators. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My pop's ticket to America was education. He came from a very poor family. Didn't nobody fund him, but he got scholarships. And he was able to get a scholarship to go to school in Canada, then graduate from Canada, then go to Northwestern in Evanston, Illinois, and the rest is history.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Pops became a professor. So when that happened and I went to Wales, it was crazy because, again, Allah is the best planner and things are very mysterious.
Right.
Now, mind you, I'll never forget this since this is the story, right? We got time to tell the truth.
Yeah, we got time.
There was a man, I don't even know if this man is alive to this day, a dude named Jim Wickman. Jim Wickman asked me while I was locked up. They called me to the administrative building. They said, Mr. Idari, how would you like to go to college? We heard your father's a professor. I said, I would love to go to college, but you don't have to worry about your parents paying for tuition or anything. I said, what you mean? Part of my sentence, right? I hit a police officer. I carried a gun to school because they jumped my friends. So they gave me juvenile time and they gave me adult probation.
Oh.
Now, there was a loophole. It's not even a loophole. In the grant and financial aid papers, there's something that says if you're a ward of the court is like an orphan.
Yeah.
Right? That means the state is technically your legal guardian.
Right.
The state will pay for your school. So he pointed this out to me, and I told him, I got 2 parents. I'm not an orphan. He said, aren't you going to be on adult probation when you get released from Wales? I said, yes. He said, well, when you're on adult probation, the state is your legal guardian. So I got 5 years of UWM college paid for and never looked back. Yeah, my father was a college professor. He didn't have to drop no money.
No dimes.
No dimes. And I lived with him. And plus, I was never a burden to Pops. You know what I'm saying? Paid for my own food sometime, but paid for my own clothes all the time. Pops make that good African food.
African food, yeah.
I'm eating that.
Yeah.
So, that's my little story. It's like from tragedy to triumph, it was like a little loophole, dishonored the family, because if you know my family, it's not even about money, but it's about honor, you see? So that's why I went to UWM off that. So when I got older and graduated, it wasn't so much I wanted to, just teach youth. I just wanted to give back to what I saw as at-risk youth, troubled youth. You remember one time I saw you some years back at that school off of 35th and Hampton?
Yep.
Remember you was teaching martial arts to the boys?
Yep.
As I think Mr. Burns.
Right. Shout out to Daryl Burns.
Shout out to Burns,
that
man.
Racine Unified District now.
Let's go, Burns. Straight shy, but he's in Racine.
Yeah, he's
right
from the shy, for the south side.
He gives out house dancing and to Jack Master Father. Hey, for real. But I say that to say, remember some of them boys was hard-headed, right?
Yeah.
See, I look at all those as the gems.
Yeah.
Now, it's a difference between the ones who just ignorant and keep perpetuating the ignorance, but sometimes they want attention. And it's not even the attention, say, look at me. They want attention to an issue or problem, but they don't know how to come to you and say, Manan, this is what's going on. So they lash out.
Yeah.
And so our babies are not the problem. They can become problematic, the adjective, but they're not the noun.
What would you tell the child now that who is kind of similar, he's behaving in similar ways that you were behaving in high school and that we experienced at that school and that school and that school over there? What would you tell that kid right now? We call them kids because we this age.
Right.
But what would you tell them?
You know what? I gotta attach this to it. I tell them the same thing Ruben Harpo told me. In fact, Gideon just interviewed me yesterday on Channel 4 about Ruben Harpo because they honoring him as a marshal for Juneteenth. And I remember him in the ancestor class I took with him and Dr. Mensa.
I remember Dr. Mensa.
Dr. Mensa, right?
Dr.
from
Mensa
Ghana.
was bananas with it, man.
Dr. Mensa was real dope.
Yeah.
They said, and Ruben is too. And the rites of passage, they said all of us are sort of predestined or born with a certain skill set or God-given ability.
Right.
Whatever that is. And I don't just mean throwing the basketball or punching or not, beyond the athletic ability. Maybe it's an intuition or a gift you can give to heal the people, whether you can make it with your hands or speak it out your mouth. Find and tap into your highest, greatest inner self, whatever that looks like. And once you tap into that, that's your purpose.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that could drive your purpose. And once you tap into your purpose, how can I transmit this purpose to the youth? So, for instance, the young boy who's going through stuff, I don't look at them like the problem no matter what they've done, even though they know better. And I don't make an excuse for them either. But I also say that, listen, you've got something inside you. You got some greatness in you. You've done some wickedness too, right? But the wickedness is by design. It's not by nature. It's not who you really are.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times, you know, especially with male children, they lash out and they get aggressive to overcompensate for something. Maybe they were abused.
Yeah.
Maybe their father left them. Maybe the mother internalizes the hatred with the father onto them and says, you're not going to be just like your daddy.
Right.
Which you women should never do to a young male. Never do that. So whatever it is, and again, it won't happen in one space. You know, sometimes you might not be able to crack the mold, and the kid he's not opening up to you. It has nothing to do with you. He's been hurt. He's lived a life of distrust. So when you finally get them to open up, and it comes on their time, no matter how good your speech is or your spill is, it'll come when they receive the message and ready to let you know. And I say that to say when that happens, because I could go, you know, say all type of positive stuff to a group of youth and they could just write me off, not focus. But it's the words that resonate when you're not there with them. They're listening.
Yeah.
When they're locked up in a jail cell, or their best friend just died because of something you told them not to do, or they're sitting at 12 o'clock staring off into in space. They say, man, I remember what Manan told me. I remember what Kamanzi told me. See, that's when the change happens, and it's deep because I didn't get it. My pops was a professor.
Yeah. So he wouldn't understand. He was disconnected from the streets.
Right, but the funny thing is, my pops didn't come in title. My pops came from poor, but not crime. Here's the thing.
Poor in crime and it's poor.
It's two different things.
Yep.
We always think, poor, my pops was more broke than any brother in America. I'm going to tell you how broke. I'm talking about when he was in Africa, right? There's a story called The Dead Man's Clothes I still remember. See, my pops and a couple of his cousins, they were playing one time not too far from a river in Kenya, probably in Ukambani, ancestral land, up country, right? He saw a dead man with a nice suit on. Now,
this is a true story.
This is a true story. This is a true story.
Let's see where this is going.
My pops was a kid, though. I don't even know what age. Maybe my age.
Yeah.
Now, my pops, he told me when they were little, they was real bad at practical jokes and all type of stuff like that. And vicious. But poverty make you do stuff. He took the dead man's suit off, and I guess he rinsed the dead man's suit off in the river and dried it and wore that suit back to the crib. Or back to the hut. When he got back home and his mother asked him where he got the suit from, I think he wasn't forthright coming, so one of the little cousins or, little sister or someone gonna squeal on you. You know what I'm saying? Yo, you know that was coming, right? Remember what's happening? The show was happening? Remember Little D on Raj? I'm telling. I'm telling. One of them dynamics.
Yeah.
She told my grandmother, I know we can't cuss on the air, but they say she beat him so bad his soul left his body. And then she whipped his ass back to his soul, got back in his body. For real. And then said, listen, I don't care how many suits or no clothes you got. Don't ever, number one, take a dead man's clothes off because it's a bad vibe karma. Because my grandmother, even though she claimed to be a Christian and she had married a Muslim and all this.
But she held on to those ancestral
ancient
views.
religion. And I'm no disrespect to Islam or Christianity. And it's deep with me. I didn't understand when I was young. I used to be like the Muslim, this is haram, or the Christian, this is forbidden. This is ancient. Talking about black girl magic, black woman magic to the higher science. And I'm not talking about pseudo voodoo or none of that. I'm talking about science.
Yeah.
Right? If I could take two herbs together, boil them and heal you, is that voodoo or is that high science? So she beat him down and said, number one, you don't ever take off a dead man's clothes for spiritual reasons. And then health reasons, he might have had a disease, dummy, and you taking off his clothes, wearing his clothes. And then three, imagine you taking off a dead man's clothes and the police roll up on you. So 1, 2, 3, got his ass whooped for 1, 2, 3 until the soul left his body. Then she whooped his soul back into his body. So
we're going to come back with Dead Man's Clothes on
Dead
the
Man's
Grapevine
Clothes.
with Kid Kamazi. Yes, come back.
When a warrior faces adversity, he fights through it. He finds a way. Freedom isn't free. rolling strong. Belief. Believe you can, and you will.
Wheelchairs for Warriors provides mobility solutions to veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Join the mission and visit wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
Here's the deal.
80s was crazy.
The crack era, I remember it vividly because before the crack era, remember, was the heroin era.
Right.
But the heroin era came in when we was babies because I was born in 71.
Yeah,
and
I was 78.
And 78. And heroin is not new. And then, it's a lot of, not even just what they showed you on American Gangster, but it was facts of the Vietnam War, the influx of the Golden Triangle dope that came all across the world from that area.
Right.
But then a different poison hit the world late 70s and 80s that was coming from Colombia and Peru, which was cocaine.
Yeah.
And then when they found out a way to step on it and chemicalize the cocaine and they turned into a crack, then the crack explosion came and it decimated us too. Remember the first one though, the heroin decimated us too. But then the crack came us and finished it, man, whatever they couldn't kill with the heroin, they came with the crack.
Hip hop changed forever from that point on, basically.
It did.
And it went from that to now we're here.
Right.
Where did you see yourself? Because that was the jungle.
That was the jungle. Remember now, there's some research. I saw some pictures.
Yeah.
But I didn't hear the actual recording of some famous meeting. It was supposed to be between NWA or some, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
All right. Now, whether that actually happened or not, we do know that when the crack era also ushered in gangster rap. Now, here's the thing. Didn't no black youth make the term gangster rap and never say they were a gangster rapper?
Right. It was the people from the outside that actually said gangster rap because they couldn't identify with the people that were actually making the music.
And remember, we used to have a song. We used to make a well-rounded album. I might have a song about a girl, a song about something I went through, a gangster song about some gangster things I did. But I don't recall people saying I'm a gangster rapper. Where did that term come from? And the thing is, because does that mean were you a gangster first or were you a rapper first? Like, what are you? Are you a gangster?
Yeah.
Are you a gangster who raps?
Right.
Or you a rapper who wants to be a gangster? So, but the crack era was pretty wicked because what it did is, again, we never win with drugs. The Ronald Reagan era, there was a lot of money flooded because of the crack money. But again, there was a lot of guns. There was a lot of things in circulation. And burping off this beer, psych, this ain't nothing but H2O. I don't drink no damn beer. Right. Give me a double shot of alkaline water, for real. But the crack era, because I know I had people who died using it. I had people who died selling it in the crack wars. I had people I knew died or not died, still in prison to this day.
Yeah.
With football field numbers. So the crack era, I don't want to say it shaped hip-hop, but it definitely affected hip-hop in more ways than one.
And we're feeling the effects right now.
We say crack babies now, even though people say, well, we a couple generations from the crack babies. Well, they're still alive.
Right.
And I don't even want to say that because what your parents did does not necessarily make you a crack baby. To me, a crack baby was more of a term of influence because all of us, I don't care if you had nothing to do with crack cocaine. You was influenced because
you still a crack baby
from that. If you
from
that era,
yeah, from that area.
If you had to go to school and avoid the people shooting each other, if you had to walk by people selling or dope fiends, and everybody probably done had something stole by a damn dope fiend,
right?
You know what I'm saying? You drop something for 1 second, whatever, garage door, whatever it is, cocaine, crack cocaine specifically, affected us. It did put a lot of money in circulation, put a lot of bodies in the morgue, put a lot of bodies in the penitentiary.
What happened after that, with hip hop?
Hip hop, they say hip hop got hijacked. But when we say hip hop, you know what? I should probably correctly do this right now. Is a difference. Rap is just one element in hip hop. See, even when hip hop was corrupted worldwide, it was never corrupted.
Yeah.
Because even when cats were doing whatever they were doing in America, In Japan, they were still breakdancing.
Yeah.
In Germany, they were still doing graffiti. In Brazil, they were still rapping about conditions. You see? So when we say hip-hop and we think about Milwaukee, a lot of times we talk about what it did to the rap business.
Yeah.
Because then you had rap moguls and rap CEOs acting like drug lords. And if you look at a lot of the covers, from the No Limit covers of the late 90s, some of the covers that came from the East Coast, you could see that a lot of the covers, everyone was dressed like a dope dealer.
Yeah.
And all them cats wasn't selling dope.
Right.
Come on now. But then I began to hear, look at the term dope. That's cold. Dope. Where we get the word dope from.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? First we said fresh, then we said deaf, then we said that's dope. But I'd much rather say that's dope, talking about a great idea, than actually seeing dope. So the dope, what it did to hip-hop, it poisoned hip-hop, or poisoned rap, I should say, but it didn't destroy it. It took us on a different turn. And then remember, there were actually some groups, hip-hop groups, that were funded by drug money, and the rappers outwardly rapped about it and got their ass investigated.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
Now it's even worse. They got something called the Facebook police, unofficial, that just look at all your social media posts, listen to your songs, see all the times y'all
And then they
do
charge you a RICO.
So all those dudes listening, and if you're not listening, stop making videos with you and your guys in a small kitchen with automatic weapons, y'all strapped up, y'all masked up, y'all gloved up, toting guns. Who y'all finna shoot? The microwave or each other? I don't get it. I see a lot of videos like that, and it's the imagery. You know, our imagery has been destroyed. They say he who controls the images can control the masses.
So what we experienced in that era is being lent. The kids now are just kind of asking for the loan. They're just, hey, no, I'm. You guys bought that in. We kind of loan. We're kind of taking some of that imagery that you guys, didn't stop.
Right.
And then now we're just kind of magnifying it.
Well, now you got something called drill music. See, I don't got, my thing is this. As an older artist from the classic era, from the ancient era, can't even say old school, I'm older than old school. I don't mind the different styles of rap. And we sometimes got to stop alienating. Everyone can't rap like Nas.
Right.
Everyone can't rap like Black Thought or Jay-Z.
Yeah.
This era, I don't expect that. In fact, the few people that I do hear that have a old soul flow, their father or mother was influenced by hip-hop or was part of the artist.
Yeah.
So I say that to say this era, I like trap. I'm not against rap. But the drill music is exactly that's what it is. I don't F with drill. Drill, to me, the sounds, the frequency. See, trap is about a mind state. Hustling the trap, I get it. When I'm trapping my juices, I'm hustling these right here, my bitters and juices. When I see you trapping the juices, nothing wrong with hustle, especially if it's legal. But drill means something different. Drill means I shoot you, and then, you shoot me. I come to your grave. You urinate on your grave, pour liquid ashes on your grave, desecrate your grave. I don't know if you're familiar with what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's beyond
because
disrespectful.
I recognize that the culture of the culture has gone past the record, right? It has gone past
Violation.
the YouTube and the Facebook. It actually is like it's up close and personal. And what the words that they're saying are real. They're real. They have life to them. And so not only are they saying like, hey, I'm gonna come get you if you're in the hospital, they probably got you and they're coming after you in the hospital.
Right.
And those types of words, when they speak life, they're not only doing that, but you're also creating a case, as you said earlier, you're creating a case for you to get caught.
In real time. And what Brother Manan just said, for those who's listening, tuning in, words are spells. And I'm not talking about magic spells. Real life spells. That's why English is called spelling.
Yep.
When you put different words together with the frequency and the vibration, you bring things to life, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So they say if you would think one time before you act, there wouldn't be any arguments. They say if you would think 2 times before you act, there won't be any unnecessary fights.
Yeah.
If you would think 3 times before you act, there'd be no wars. And that's such a simple thing to say and such a hard thing to achieve. So like you said, words. If I can get over here, think about the era we came in. The instigator in our era used to actually have to do some work. Not giving them a pass. They had to go over here. Hey, Manan, dude said he finna fight you at recess. Hey, Kamaz, dude finna come jump you. Hey, such and such. They had to actually go spread their little negativity, which was bad, but at least they put in a little negative work. They had to physically do it. Nowadays, you can say all the things I just said and press a button. That means within seconds, I can put inflammatory, derogatory, insightful, amp the people up, ready to fight type of comment and get people at each other's throats by the press of a button. And that's very dangerous.
And when we come back, we're going to talk education, health, and the rest of that insightful, inflammatory information that y'all pulling out. This is the Grapevine, and we're going to take a break, but you're going to come right back.
Live the high life this summer and enjoy every moment with the champagne of beers. Miller High Life. If you've got the time, they've got the beer. Celebrate responsibly.
I'ma be great, speak it to life. Y'all inspire me, I hope I inspire y'all. When your own boss, can't nobody fire y'all. See the world take aerial flights. You so great, did you go break all the stereotypes? Hustlers, customers, smugglers, the street soldiers. More than players, we trying to be league owners. Politicians, doctors, lawyers, and teachers. Authors, preachers, self-employers, and leaders. We not caught up in the trap at the dope spot. We got our own shop, now we on the whole block. Schools, mosques, church, business to daycare. Made a safe place, all the children can play there. We know the system don't play there. The hate clear.
You know, there was we were just talking about the hypocrisy. The hypocrisy within hip hop coming from the crack era to like the lean and the what is the fentanyl era.
Fentanyl, the pills.
Yeah. And we have a lot of that going on, but we have a lot of artists that promote it but don't do it. But then now and our kids
it's crazy.
Are listening to the music and they're doing it.
And they're doing it.
But the artists that are making the music are pulling themselves back.
It's just like some of the so-called gangster rap. You talk all these guns, and you may even have guns in your videos, but every day you're not living the gangster in the street lifestyle because you're a rapper, and a paid rapper, industry rapper. But those you influence, they're getting shot.
Right.
They're going to ICU. They're going to the morgue. They're going to the penitentiary.
Yeah.
Now, what you just said is critical, and I don't want to out some of the names we just mentioned, the specific rappers. I won't even do that because I'm not here to put anyone on blast. But some of these rappers are making songs about doing lean like it's cute, like it's cool. They don't do the lean themselves, right? And the kids, I work with kids. Manan works with kids.
Yeah.
So I'm on the ground with boots on the ground, and I see the effect. And I'm not blaming the rappers, all right, because they're part of the problem who promote the lean. But I've witnessed 15-year-old kids, falling asleep in my class, nodding, dope fiend leaning, because it has codeine, promethazine, which is an opioid, right? So all those are listening. Lean is heroin, y'all. Or they call that smack or that old boy. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I don't care how y'all little dudes, I know what y'all doing. I'm not here to judge, but I'm y'all big brother, uncle, and even father and grandfather figure. I know y'all mixing it with that Sprite. I know y'all melting Jolly Ranchers down with that.
Yep.
I know you put some little Kool-Aid to make it seem like it's a little innocent, sweet drink. That's dope you drinking. Stop.
That's right. You're in the schools, and I was just talking to people about the education, and the cutbacks.
Man, now I got a personal thing on.
Go
that.
ahead. I knew I was gonna light your fire, but I'm gonna let you roll with this.
And here's what it is. It's personal because
wait, well, let me.
Yes, sir.
I'm doing this on purpose because I don't want to hold you back, but I do.
No, I'm not gonna cuss or
No.
I'm gonna threaten nobody. We ain't gonna kidnap nobody. Not yet.
Not yet.
I got my gunman Sam is over there.
Right on.
He got the 4-5 inside of a Bible right now, ready to pop some in the name of Christ. But it's the black Christ you did.
Right. Listen, you've been an educator.
Yes, sir.
for basically your entire life.
Yes, sir.
You've been around educators your entire life.
Yes, sir.
You recognize and you understand the educational landscape from an international perspective, from a national perspective, a state perspective, and a local perspective in many different states also. Wisconsin is unique in that, and especially Milwaukee. Milwaukee's hyper segregated, has been for a long period of time.
Right.
We have a 1.6, and I read this, we have a $1.6 billion budget for just Milwaukee in itself, Milwaukee DPI.
Okay.
They have cut, I think, $420 million or something of that sort.
That's great.
Or we have a budget shortfall of $420 million.
Right.
What is your take on that, and how do we come back?
Again,
but you can go anywhere you want with this,
right?
Because you can.
And this is my 2 cents to this day. All right, I have 2 LLCs. You know, I talk about the Red Hydrant, which is my herbal stuff, but I have another LLC, and how I met you through Pops, but when I saw you at that school, I have Life Awareness Consultant.
Yeah.
Where I go mentor the kids, whether it's a charter, private, MPS. A lot of my contracts are called with MPS. I'm a licensed procurement at the procurement office at UWM.
Yeah.
I pay this insurance so I could go do this, the $1 million liability insurance, the district, all the administrative things, all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted, so I can come do these programs for the kids to help supplement the other curriculum that the teachers might not be able to give them, or maybe they haven't lived them life experiences.
Right.
I've been doing that off and on for years. And actually, that was my stable way of making a check, but more importantly, giving back. Over the last 4 years, and then sometimes I subcontract with COA, Boys and Girls Club, Arts at Large. But the last couple of years, because things got so funky, and I don't know what happened, it got real funky in the MPS with them auditing, people, lack of a better term, taking money.
They were stealing.
Stealing money,
They were
stealing.
I say it. They were
Come
stealing.
on now, stealing, misappropriating funds, a nicer way of stealing, taking. So then when you get some people like me, people like you who have a different program that your teacher can't teach you, not that they're not, maybe they, went to whatever education, they're not qualified from a social level, whatever it is, then we cannot get into schools anymore because you know how many principals call me and say, Kamanzi, I need your program, but I only got this for you. And I said, man, all right. Or Kamanzi, I need your program, but I don't have any money. Then I got to say, okay, I'll come a couple volunteer times. But it's sad because when you do stuff like take money from any program with children as an educator, mentor, whatever it is, misappropriate funds, steal funds, then what you're doing, you're actually stealing from those children. You're taking from their opportunity so they can get a Kamanzi. They can get a Manan. They can get a Kwabana, a Muhib, a True School, a MKE, Make Your Move, whatever it is. Now there's no more money left in that pool because, number one, it's been misappropriated, or maybe there's so many audits, we got to go through so much red tape and hurdles to get to the money. So, and it's sad because I haven't really worked at the school since 24. I was at Washington High School. And so thank God I got another legal way of making some money. But it's sad because a lot of times I see some of those kids, years later, like Mr. E. A lot of kids call me Mr. E because my last name is Adari. Mr. E. Man, where you been, man? I didn't see you after that, man. I'm doing this and this. I'm over here. And it's sad because a lot of times I can't just say, hey, man, I didn't come back to the school. Or I came back a couple of times, but I'm not working there no more because they'll have no more money or funding.
Right.
And it's sad because the organic relationships I make with the students and the young people have nothing to do with money, nothing to do with the contract. That still must go on, And I just wish this is a word to everybody. I don't know what happened in terms of how y'all took the money, what y'all did, and any job. Leave the damn money alone when it's dealing with babies. You're robbing children, and we don't honor that because they can't get quality programming now because there's no money left in the budget, or they're so distrustful of subcontracting with outside sources and agencies that it just leaves a kid with no cultural arts programs, no gym. Sometimes the kids have no music. Can you imagine no art?
That's
crazy.
Yeah.
Or
yeah, that's what we were just talking about too.
So why don't y'all kids have art? Can y'all can't afford an art teacher? Y'all can't afford a music teacher? What is it? No, somebody done effed up the money so bad that the real money and the real purpose that the money should be used for cannot be utilized because it doesn't exist because someone took the bag.
We're going to come right back with King Kamazi after this break, after these messages. We got so much to talk about: education, health. We're going to go into it all. But we got the song of the day with Pretty Woman MJ. Listen, Pretty Woman MJ, look him up. We're going to get busy in this break with Pretty Woman.
Yeah. Yeah. This how we gonna do this right here. Pretty woman, it's something you should know. I ain't one of them, baby, I'm him, and that's one thing for sure. Yeah. Pretty woman, oh, it's almost time to go. Ooh, and I got a lot of options, baby. Oh yeah, yeah. So don't be moving slow. Yeah. Pretty woman, oh yeah, I need you for sure. Oh yeah, I got a late night plan. Oh yeah, and it's something you can't ignore. Oh, pretty woman, oh, I'ma leave you wanting more. Hey yeah, pretty woman, oh, I want you the most. Hey, pretty woman, I make them crazy, have them beating down my door. Yeah, I know you ain't met a real one like me. Just go with the flow.
Africa Bambata, Charlie Funk, hey, King Kamazi. It's my fault. It's my fault. We can do what we want to do. You can't tell us. You can't tell us. Who the funky too? It's gonna get funky. I am the power. I am the power.
So you did this. He was just saying. You did this video in Hamburg, Germany.
Hamburg, Germany. Yeah.
International hip hop is international hip hop.
Yeah,
Man. Like if you are an artist and you have not experienced hip hop from an international perspective, or have gone to even a concert internationally, you're missing something.
You're missing something. I got so many stories that I won't even get into even a tenth of them. We'll be here for weeks. I never forget so many of them. We're in Rome. In fact, I met Rihanna maybe this had to be 2008 in Rome, and Rihanna, she just started. I mean, she was known, but wasn't like now. And we opened up for them when I said tour with Zulu Nation in Rome. No, my fault. In Milan, not Rome. Take that back, in Milan. There was this cat, this Italian cat, and in broken English, I am faster than Twister. I am faster than Twister. And he just kept on saying that. And then we had to go on stage. So after I get off the stage, I saw him again. And he started spitting, but in straight Italian. And this cat, and even though I couldn't understand it, but I knew for some reason he wasn't just mumble jumbling a lot of words together to sound like they was
because they had a cadence.
Because I can understand that in English when people do that. Like Twister really says things like that. Yeah, Twister really says stuff as fast as he raps. So I heard the cadence, and then he's like, "I am real gangster. I am real gangster." Then he showed me like a bullet wound in his leg. I guess he's from Naples in the South. From Naples. He was like telling me that when he was little, he used to be the messenger runner for the mob. So he used to have to go, when the mob didn't want to use phones, he physically used to go and take messages back to different mob members. And I guess the opposition caught him one time and tried to blow off his leg. But anyway, this cat is a rapper. Wherever you are, this cat was, if not faster, damn near as fast as Twister, in all Italian, rapping to the beat, on beat, any beat, crazy.
That's wild.
Then I went to Africa, my pop's country, Kenya, and in the tribal language, you got cats rapping like I could tell it was a trap flow, a boom bap flow in Kiswahili, in Kamba, in Maasai, in Lua, in Luya, Giriama, Digo, whatever the tribe was. Those are Kenyan tribes, by the way. And whatever their tribal language was, again, I don't know what you're saying, but I hear you're in the pocket with the flow. Oh, this dude is rapping trap in their language, and this dude is flowing so many in Japan, and that's just the rap side. Now we talk about hip hop, the dancing, because every time we talk about hip hop, it's the rap side.
You got to bring about dancing. Yeah, I was going to say that too.
And I'm on the rap side because I'm a rapper. I'm not, but hip hop is all. We know the elements of the DJ, the MC, the graph artist, the b-boy, and of course the culture. The coldest dance contests I saw were in Asia. They had this one thing called B-Boy World, or another one like this hip-hop Olympics, whatever. Even though I know hip-hop wasn't the Olympics, and that Australian lady disrespected it. She
did the kangaroo.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
You know
we ain't even talk. Let's not even give her no.
No.
Yeah.
We'll put her back in the pouch she crawled out of, back in the kangaroo pouch. I was in there, and it was B-Boy Park. That's what it was called, B-Boy Park. All across Japan, all these B-boys came together, but then the final contest, you had people from Czechoslovakia, some from America, and there was this B-boy contest. I saw some of them unreal moves in the B-boy world, breakdancing world, and it was absolutely phenomenal. Cats spinning on their one hand in 1990 like 20 times. Cats spinning on their head like 30 times in rotation. Cats doing ridiculous moves. And it's at that point I realized that hip-hop never died. No matter what we were going through in America, the so-called gangster rap era, because ain't no such thing as gangster rap, the so-called pimp player, you know what I'm saying? There was no such that. All them little eras when your hip-hop was getting turned this way, twisted this way, they never stopped dancing in Japan.
No.
They never stopped rapping and freestyling boom bap in Kenya. They never stopped in Brazil, Manan. They never stopped in England, Czechoslovakia. See, we only look what they show us.
Yeah.
You see, and I know that I've been there. Of all the things beside the food, because I am a foodie.
Yeah, same here.
Is that good food, that is. Is that every culture, I got a chance to glimpse what their hip-hop was dance-wise, rap-wise, because I made a lot of songs with a lot of them, and graffiti-wise.
Hip-hop has changed. Hip-hop in itself, in all the arms of hip-hop, has changed the culture, and it saved the American culture, the world culture, but it saved so many people's lives.
Right, yes, sir.
And the silver lining is that we wouldn't be here if we weren't breathing. So you happen to have this instrument called, and we all have it, called health, but you took it to the next level. You didn't want to live like kind of the average hip hop artist, Big Belly, whatever.
Right.
You didn't want to do that. You took another route. Fat Joe, who lost a bunch of weight, you know what I'm saying? 50 Cent gets ripped, but you took it to a whole nother level. Tell me about it.
All right, now just to make sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that's a very critical question. That question, because actually, if I'm not mistaken, my mother was your teacher at one time, right?
Yeah.
My Dukes. This is where it got to start with my mother. When I was 10, my mother got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Now, I didn't know what that was. And so at 10 years old, she went to some doctor in Chicago, and she had to stay there at this clinic for like 7 days.
Yeah.
What they did is they starved her or fast, and I didn't know. I was all sad as a kid because my mama was get this multiple sclerosis. Then I see my mama shrivel up almost like a skeleton. She purposely was told not to eat nothing for 7 days so they can start to see what her body reacts to, what she's allergic to, her blood type. And this is like in the early 80s.
Yeah.
From that point on, when my mother got released from the clinic, she had to have a certain type of diet. We learned about what organic was back then. You know, so I was still eating meat, candy, soda, all that garbage. But
Yeah.
I remember we had had to buy a whole refrigerator full of organic meat because we didn't go vegan, but it had to be unprocessed grass-fed beef. We learned about different things. So at the earliest time, health was always a part of my life because of my mother. Now, when I got older, I met a lot of different people in different capacities. I met vegetarians. I met fruitarians. I met people raw vegan diet, people who all type of different diets. You know, Okinawa diet, the diet of, you know, low carbs, you know what I'm saying, but high protein. When I got older, I was always making tonics, making smoothies, juices like you.
Yeah.
But it's in 2018, and this is a hip-hop story. It's crazy. And I'm not just saying this because I'm trying to mix hip-hop with healing like what he asked. He asked this question because he knows. The first hip-hop week in Milwaukee was 2018. Kool Herc came here.
Yeah.
Kool Herc came to my crib on that Friday. I know Herc.
Yeah.
Right? Then we went to G's Clippers. We hung out with G. The next day, I was set to open up with Gat Turner for Ghostface Killer right here at the rave.
Yeah.
I went to sound check. Everything was cool. Everything was beautiful. There was a liaison. I asked her for some tickets because when I was done with my sound check, I asked her for some parking passes.
Yeah.
She already gave me some tickets. I said, because that way I can come back and when the artist, I can park closer, boom, boom, go in the venue. I don't know who the lady is. Whoever the owner of the rave, if she's still the owner of the rave, maybe I'm putting my foot in my mouth, whatever. But this is the Truth Radio. You heard what it is?
Yeah.
This is the truth, and we speak the truth. We
Truth
don't
Nation,
disrespect-
baby.
Truth Nation. Ugly truth over pretty lie. You heard? I'm talking to this liaison. Everything is fine. I've already done my sound check. I just need a couple more parking passes. She comes, first of all, you got to read between the lines when people talk to you. You people are asking for too much. You people, right? So, you know, we don't.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm giving you
people
the
is
pass.
a trigger word.
Come on now. Now, and then just,
hey, put that in the chat. If you get triggered by you people, let me
come
know.
on now. You people. And that was just his intro.
Yeah.
Like y'all asked me to freestyle with the intro. This was her intro. You people. And it just snowballed effect and just eroded from that point. Then she says, you don't need this. You don't need that. I said, what you mean? I need a pass. Didn't we already give you extra tickets? And I was actually going to have a couple of the kids at the high school I was working with get on stage and dance. They wanted to dance with me. There was a couple girls, a couple boys. I said, y'all could dance, but I told the girls, I don't want none of that twerking stuff. This is hip-hop.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Try
we
to
don't
get
do
it
that.
in, yeah.
And the way I treat y'all like y'all my daughters, so the boys, same thing, like treat you like my sons. And it was a classy dance. It was like, so not hip-hop, but it was a new version, right?
Yeah.
But so this lady says, you're not going to have anyone on stage. This is the owner, the son of me out. So, and I'm biting my tongue. So all of a sudden I couldn't take it anymore. And I said, I don't know who you talking to, lady, but
Are you out of your damn mind?
Yep. That's exactly what I realized. So without me even saying anything, she tells somebody who works at the rave to take my name off. You see Ghostface, Gat Turner, King, come on, take my name off there, off top. She was on one. Now,
crazy.
Now, Manan, I'm not a tough guy, but I'm a fool. They were going to have to beat me up.
You lost it.
What? I said, they said, and you have to leave right now. I said, well, make me. So there was like 10 security guards. They came out. And I was going to, you have to show me and I'm not, listen, that's never a good idea, y'all. For those that's listening, it's just not.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get a point where you're beyond reason and you're like, well, out of 10, 3 or 4 are going to get knocked out. Someone's coming with me. So, you know what I'm saying? Then I'll leave.
Right.
But Gat Turner, who's my brother from another mother, you know, he pulled me to the side. And then I thought about a couple things too. I'd have ruined it for myself. Probably, you know, 10-on-1, who knows what the outcome would have been.
Right.
Criminally, I'd have been held accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would have messed it up for Gat Turner, who was a great human being,
Right.
a great brother, got a great message, and a great rapper. So it wasn't even worth it. So that day I went home. But I know I'm about to bring this full circuit. I go home that night, and I'm not even to Christmas or Christmas carols. I felt like Rudolph Red-Nosed when he got dejected and couldn't participate in reindeer games. I'm like, man, I was supposed to be performing it. So I'm sitting at the crib, and the craziest thing is I get a call from some Baby Drew fans, 2 females.
Yeah.
Came to my crib at 12 o'clock. Not on no funny business. Came to my crib at 12 o'clock. They bought tickets. I know them from the East. The one is a real big Baby Drew fan, but she said, no, I bought these tickets to see you rap. You're going to do a show for us. They rolled up their little, right in the living room. I got a big Bluetooth speaker about 4 feet big. I did like a 15-minute show for them. Straight up. And then she turned to a girl and said, I told girl this nigga the truth. And then they left and they went about their business and went to some other club. But so it felt good to be appreciated. And it was the craziest thing. Imagine 2 women come to your crib like midnight. Not on no funny business, no nothing.
They just want to be like, man, I just want to hear some hip hop.
I want to hear some hip hop because they went to the show, they liked it, but she paid to come see me. And so I know who she is, my peoples, and it was cool. So that night I was drinking a lot of watermelon juice. At that point I had watermelon juice. I didn't even have the name of Red Hydrant.
Yeah.
It was called Red.
Boing, boing, boing.
It was called Red Hydrant.
Yeah.
So I'm drinking a lot of watermelon juice, and you know that make you urinate all day.
Oh man.
Now I got watermelons in my, because this is before I was using the commercial kitchen. This is real rudimentary. Very, very basic.
Yep.
I got watermelons in my living room. They're whole watermelons. You know what I'm saying? So something happened as I'm urinating, going back and forth, urinating about 2-3 times in the bath. I'm transparent about every damn thing. I don't have to lie, right? Second time I'm going back to the bathroom. It's dark. I mess around and bust my junk and slip on one of the watermelons. Boom. Fall right on the ground. But look it, that's a lie. What's on my butt's on the ground. I'm flat on the ground, you know what I'm saying? On the right side of me is a watermelon. On the left side of me is a watermelon. So that as being a wordsmith, the right thing to do, what's on my right side is a watermelon. They took everything from me, but what's left is a watermelon. So that day I formed Red Hydrant juice. I was supposed to have rocked for Ghostface Killer.
You're right.
Never got a chance to rock for Ghostface Killer. But that night, Allah said, you know what? Forget that. You've been all across the world. You know, I've rocked with Ghostface before. I've done.
The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have mental health resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. See how much further you can go when you take care of your mental health.
Living in survival mode, too much killing, don't know what they dying for. Say the children, that's what we riding for. Ashes to ashes, sound like a Bible quote. Every day, we living in survival mode. Too much killing, don't know what they dying for. Say the children,
it is survival mode.
Yes,
and
sir.
I think we were just talking about Red Hydrant, and man, we could go. We need another hour. This is crazy because you're talking about Red Hydrant, which is your juice brand, watermelon juice brand.
Yes, sir.
You have bitters, but I'm gonna save the bitters to the end. We literally were just talking about having weights, and if you are a hip hop artist, if you are just a person, here's what, and I'm gonna give you guys some word of advice. Bruce Lee, everybody know who Bruce Lee was. Bruce Lee used to, in every part of Bruce Lee's house was a training device.
Yep.
He used to always, it was all around the edges of his house. Even when his kids were playing, he'd always have these training devices for his forearms, for his hands, for his elbows, whatever he needed that training device for, he had a use for. It was all around the house. You are doing the same thing. And you're 55 years old.
55.
But your skin looks like it's 20 something. Right. So you're reversing, you're working to reverse your age.
Reverse it. First of all, Bruce
and
Lee.
you got a house full of weights.
Full of weights. Bruce Lee, there's a book, Manan. You probably got a book. If you don't got this book, you got it, especially for you.
Yeah.
I know you and how deep you are with martial arts. For you, it's not even an art, it's a discipline.
Right.
You got The Human Body Experience by Bruce Lee?
Nah, but let me write that down.
Oh, man, The Human Body Experience is like a thick paperback. This book about Bruce Lee they photocopied his handwritten workout schedules of what he did minute by minute in the course of a day.
Wow.
See what you just said? Stuff from the forearms, every little thing. He invented certain machines. He had machines invented for him. I remember he had his first universal weight set was for Marcy.
Yeah.
And he had the receipt. This book has the original receipt in the 70s and when he purchased this.
Wow.
Not just talking about it, his actually handwritten, they photocopied, I guess his wife had some of his workout journals.
Yep.
Bruce Lee was so deep, what he did is he timed the period of rest between each set to cut it down.
Yeah.
So there'd be constant tension on the muscles. Bruce Lee was the forefather to UFC and to MMA.
Yeah.
Because what he did, he was a traditional martial artist who studied Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
He studied wrestling. He studied different art forms and put them all together.
Yep.
If you watch Return of the Dragon, you will see him when he's fighting Chuck Norris. That's Return when they was in Rome, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Look at his footwork. That's not Chinese. That's not Jeet Kune Do.
Oh yeah, that's
boxing.
Yeah.
He would take a mirror. He would take, there was no VCRs back then, a movie projector and project Muhammad Ali doing his footwork. And then he would look at himself in the mirror at the same time looking at Muhammad Ali for his footwork.
Right.
Bruce Lee was amazing. In my crib, I'm long-winded because I got stamina, so we got long wind, you dig? But what the brother just said is, my basement got weights and a punching bag. Upstairs, I got a punching bag, speed bag. I got 50-pound kettlebells. I got 30s. This is upstairs, not even the heavy. I got 40s, 35s, 40s, 10s, all the weights. But what happened is during COVID, during 2020, when we weren't allowed to go to the gyms, I had some of this equipment.
Yeah.
So what I did is I went further, started getting more equipment, resistant bands, dumbbells, exercise mats, and put it all together. And I love going to the gym, but sometimes I like just going into, a meditation with just you. Especially my age, I don't need to lift the gym.
Right.
I don't need to be benching 225 or 300 pounds no more.
Yeah.
Or squatting 400.
How important is it to be in shape and also be a hip hop artist?
Well, right now it's crazy because I see Method Man goes crazy in the gym. I've been seeing Red Man go crazy with the pull-up bar.
Yeah.
I even see people like Ludacris working out.
Jadakiss.
Jadakiss.
Yep.
So right now, I think initially some of them same artists who weren't gym rats became, some of them probably were, but became gym rats because as you get older, your ops are not other rappers no more.
Nah.
Your ops are not even the system, not even the record companies. It's called high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, all those things in your family line. You shouldn't have eaten drunk or smoked. Maybe you did some drugs.
Let him cook.
Let me cook. They catch up with you.
That's right.
You see, it's not when you're young that these things mess you up. It's all the things you did when you was young.
Yeah.
They finally got a hold of you.
Yep.
So hip hop and health, especially black health, because remember, black men, we don't get tested. We don't get to go get the different diagnoses of what's wrong with us.
Yeah.
I mean, let's admit, we are what any man should. I don't know, it's a sweet era now, so I don't want to. Any man should not like the finger prostate test.
Right.
It took me a year out. Nah, I opt out of that. It wasn't happening.
Yeah, I do the blood test.
Blood test, exactly. But one time I asked the doctor, I said, why do they keep wanting to do this? Can't y'all got imaging? Can't you do an x-ray, the blood? And this was a Nigerian doctor who didn't even like doing the test at all. He broke something down to me. He said the reason why they have to actually use the finger, because if your prostate is mushy, that means it could be prostatitis.
Yep.
If your prostate is hard, it could have a tumor in it.
That's right.
So as much as I, no body boy thing of that, you understand, but on a real life, Don't play with your health, black man. And it's not just prostate issues, anything. Now, when you get your test, your imaging, your x-rays, your consulting, your MRI, I'm not saying go with the medication they prescribe. Right. Go get a second opinion. But just like I'm a herbalist, my nan's a herbalist, I can't test your blood at my crib. I'm not like Dr. Yaki Awakening, which is salute to him. Little bro's going crazy.
Yeah, he's going nuts.
Healing, and I love it. You know, I don't have the different things to test. But if you know what's wrong with you, because everyone ultimately should be their own expert.
Right.
For instance, I've studied for years. I'm not an expert on you.
Right.
Because Manan is an expert on Manan, not because he studied for years, because Manan is the only one who's been with Manan since he's been born.
That's right.
Which qualifies for you for your expert.
That's right.
So everyone don't self-diagnose yourself, but if you can, go get evaluated, find out what's wrong. Then when you find out what's wrong, do the research and take it a step further. Go holler at Manan.
And so many people have been, our diseases have been inclining at a very, very fast rate. So our kids now have friends that are coming down with diseases that are preventable. Colorectal cancer, you name it, colon cancer,
childhood obesity,
diabetes,
pre-diabetes,
hypertension. Like our kids now that are whatever age have friends that are coming down with preventable diseases. And you're not saying all of this because somebody needs to get checked at 50. You're saying, like, man, if you're 30 and you're having problems, because there are people now that are coming down with these diseases that, you really should be getting, not should be, but older people have been traditionally be getting these at age 50, 60,
and
70,
catching at
80
30.
years old. You catch them at 30. You catch them at 20.
At 20. And it's so deep because there was a pitch contest for the African American Black Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
And I won second place, but which is a little bit of bread. But more than that, my pitch was this "You Are What You Eat" campaign.
Yep.
And I proposed that I would like to have a direct initiative dealing with the black child, the health of the black child. Michelle Obama, I know all these people attacking Michelle, whatever.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about that too.
But and this is not an attack on sis.
Yeah.
One thing she did, when she came, I think it was the first term her husband won, is she said we're gonna deal with childhood obesity. And then after that I didn't really hear about it anymore.
Yeah.
So I said what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have the kids combining hip hop now and health. We made songs about Red Lake 40.
Yeah.
So I did an experiment with the children. I got a bag of Red Hot Flamings, or Flamin' Hots, right? I had each of the kids take a chip and rub their fingers with it. I said, don't eat it, and do this. Then I placed a bowl of water in front of each of their hands. No soap, no hand sanitizer, just water. I said, try to rub this red off your hands, fingers. They couldn't. Someone said, well, we need some soap. I said, yeah, you probably do, but you shouldn't. It's not coming off. You know why? Because Red Lake 40 is not soluble. It's aluminum based.
That's right.
Lake refers to the process of which it was made.
That's right.
They use Red Lake 40 for the dyes in the cosmetic industry, the lipstick, the whatever it is, the makeup. It is not for human consumption. In Europe, it's been banned, rightfully so.
Yes.
So if you get hot flamers,
even more and more, even this year.
This year.
Yep.
If so, you get any red chips in Europe, they're red because of beet juice, or cherry juice, which is
into companies that are innovating in this space at the early stage, that are pioneering in areas around the child welfare system, as an example.
Through Pivotal Ventures, Harkless Moore champions businesses she feels are overlooked, and she believes that smart investment in places like the care economy accelerates social progress for women and people of color. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Turn us on.
Okay, this is freestyle right here.
Yeah, go. Give me a minute. Give me a minute.
Health is wealth. What you gotta do? Health is wealth. And I'ma drop to you. I got 1 minute, so run with it. They want a health? Hey, come get it. I got the herbal bitters, and it's herbal. So when I break it down, it's universal. I got things good for parasites. You keep my bitters room temperature, Fahrenheit. So right now, to the parasite is scared to bite. And now, rappers are now scared to fight because you never knew better. If you knew better, you simply would do better. Too much soda, too much sugar, too much salt. Now it's your own fault, so blood pressure. I made the herbal bitters as a blood cleanser. Some other ones are made for immune system. Red Hydrant is the true living. I got a lot of things that you can sip on. A lot of herbal bitters that you can drink on. My thinking cap, something you can think on. It's like a spaceship, something to sink on. I'm not a Klingon, it's not Star Trek. I freestyle, health bars, hard rap. I'm like Muhammad Sabir, sensei. In other words, I'm the Kunta and the Kente. African like the cloth of Kente. And you can tell it like Mata Musa, I'm speaking like it Mende. I don't care what all of those fake men say, men play. Take the damn men way and get back to the health bars and break it down now, cause I'm a health star, cause I'm my own man, got my own plan, and yeah, Red Hydrant, that's my own brand.
And let's talk about the bitters.
Yes, sir.
We killed it.
Yes, sir.
Killed it about health, freestyle. Look.
Yes, sir.
That's what we're supposed to do.
Come on now, Manan.
That's what we're supposed to do.
Yes, sir.
This is what hip-hop was made for.
Yes, sir.
It was made to uplift. It was made to turn the dial up.
Yes, sir.
Right? It's so many people that are actually changed their lives around. Look at I'm good peoples with Stick Man from Dead Prez, M1. Them dudes changed their lives around. You look at, I mentioned 50. You look at Fat Joe. Who else? Busta Rhymes.
Yep.
So a lot of those cats, man. But they don't have the bitters, though.
Right.
Tell me about the bitters.
All right. The bitters. The herbal bitters, herbal alkaline bitters.
And why is it good to cleanse the blood?
Okay. Now, Manaz asked some very powerful questions. All right. So I'm going to probably say each of the question. The importance of the bitters. First of all, bitters refer to bitter herbs, bitter barks, bitter leaf that are alkaline. Most bitters trigger your digestive system. So technically, we think of digestion starting in the gut or the stomach or the abdominal region or the intestines. No, it starts in your mouth. What bitters do is they send a signal to the liver. Mm-hmm. The liver, in return, releases bile. The bile is used to start breaking food down. Mm-hmm. So before your stomach sees any food, your food has been broken down in your saliva from bitter herbs. Now, bitter herbs, you got stuff like wormwood, which is anti-parasitic. You got stuff like neem, which numerous things. There's so many different bitter herbs. But the importance of bitter herbs is they alkaline the body because the majority of us eat an acidic diet, which is highly processed, sugars, salts, GMO foods. The majority of the Western diet is acid. Therefore, to balance it, counteract it, you have to have an alkaline diet, which Dr. Sebi taught us that if your blood is alkaline, your system is alkaline, no disease or toxic parasite can live in your system because it's not feeding the poison. Like cancer is fed by sugar. Yeah. So you eliminate those things. So herbs are very important. That's the fundamental, not just my bitters, any bitter. And that's the importance of bitters. Now, the next question I think you ask is, why is it so important
cleanse the blood?
To cleanse the blood? Mm-hmm. Most human beings and animals, when you're sick, your blood is diseased or toxic, right? So a lot of times if you don't cleanse the blood is always forever flowing in your body, that you got sick blood or toxified blood in your system, and therefore create a whole host of problems. So Dr. Sebi said, well, hey, let's clean and start with the blood. Things like sarsaparilla, increase the iron in the blood. Things like burdock and yellow dock, which are not related. They both have a dock in them. Burdock is a number one blood cleanser.
That's right.
Cleanse the blood.
I remember juicing burdock, and I tasted it. Maybe I might have juiced it like an apple. Man, let me tell you, I juiced some burdock root, and when I juiced it, it was like swallowing those little prickles that you get, walking through a field.
Right.
It was like swallowing all of that.
Right.
And it went down. I was like, man, this is wild. Like I'm I'm feeling like something's coming out of my body.
Right.
But in reality, about a day later, man, I felt like I could run forever.
See?
Forever.
Blood.
That burdock is real.
Burdock is a game changer. In fact, my first bitter, because this all relates to the bitters, my first bitter is called Father Time.
Yeah.
And the very first ingredient, burdock, chicory root, dandelion root. Chicory root is good for kidneys. I'm sorry, good for your liver. Dandelion root, great for liver.
That's right.
Cheney root, that's good for blood circulation, blood flow. Malby root is something in the Caribbean that's been used for years to reduce blood pressure. They mix it with coconut milk.
Yep.
Sarsaparilla we talked about helps put iron in the blood. Cloves, anti-parasitic. And then you have pimento cinnamon. Cinnamon sticks is good for high blood pressure. Bay leaves.
That's right.
So in my first formulation, I only had one, and this was my overall detox. I had to go to some stuff that Dr. Sebi said, as well as my own research. But cleanse the blood. It's very important. You clean the blood, alkaline the system, because, again, you're eating foods, the majority of us, including me. If I could go right out here to this food court, I'll see pizza. I'll even see some noodles. I'll see different type of proteins.
Right.
All those things will break down into acid.
Right.
Uric acid.
And it starts coagulating the blood. The blood gets thicker. You
thicker.
don't
No
want
flow.
thick blood.
No.
You want blood that can flow through your entire body.
Yes, sir.
Yes, because if
Flowing.
you don't have thin-ish blood, and your blood is coagulating, that means it's leading to different types of food-based diseases.
Food-based disease. And what do they say in Oriental or Chinese traditional medicine? Most ailments are the blockage of three things.
Yeah.
Blood, water,
Yep.
and air.
That's right.
In your body. Anything. And African holistic practice is the same thing. Yep.
Yeah. Are you happy with where you're at right now?
You know what? That's yes and no. And I woke up so I could never trip. Business-wise, and I want to put this, I know, again, words are spelling, and I don't want to ever have a self-fulfilling prophecy if it's not positive. I got to step my game up in terms of my business to try to get my product a little bit more worldwide, a little bit more stores. I do have my stuff in about 4 or 5 stores in Milwaukee. I want to expand. Obviously, product's probably got to be tested in different places. It was tested at the university, I think, in Lane College in Tennessee, and I got to go through, but it was just one bottle, and it passed with flying colors. They loved it. Everything I said was in it, but it's very expensive to test these things. But I would like to get my products more of a household name. Obviously, if I can't get them in Walmart, at least get them in every Outpost and every Whole Foods in America. I'd like to take it there. Now, culturally, spiritually, I'm very content and give gratitude. I have no regrets in what's happened in my life.
And let's share a question from Cole real quick. Cole, you got 30 seconds on Jack. It's real. What's up, Cole?
How y'all doing? How y'all brothers doing?
Yes, sir.
It's an awesome show. So my question is, a lot of these herbs sound excellent. Sounds like I need all of them. How do you know which ones you actually need? I mean, can you try all of them, or do you cycle off one and go on another one? How do we know what we need?
Okay, excellent question. Have you been tuning in this whole interview from when we started?
Just a little after you started.
Okay, no, fine. So you caught the whole part about when I just said, like I told Manan or anyone, for instance, Cole, I would say that you're your biggest health expert. You, not me, not Manan, not even Dr. Sebi. You. That means you got to do here's the homework everyone has to do, and I can't do it for you. Manan can't. Your own wife and kids can't do it for you. You have to do it for yourself.
Okay.
You have to find out exactly what your health issues are, if you have some. If you don't have any, what are in your genetic or in your hereditary line? Does your father have blood pressure? Does he have diabetes? Even if you don't. Once you find that out, then you can have the direction and where you need to go. Because my herbs, a lot of my herbs, for instance, I got about 8 different formulations. And my herbs, herbal tonics are not just one tonic. Like I just named off all those things in just one. So basically, mine are broke down in different categories according to ailments. The one that I just broke down for Manan is my blood cleanser and blood purifier. I have another one just for high blood pressure, diabetes, and cholesterol. I have another one for all issues of the gastrointestinal system, from parasites to gas, bloating, constipation, diverticulitis, leaky gut syndrome, irritable bowel syndrome, and that's strictly for the gut. I have another one that deals with cancer. I have another one that deals with the immune system. So technically, one could take all of these, but what I usually do is when people know, hey, they say, come to me and they say they have a problem with high blood pressure. They say they have diabetes. Someone says, hey, I don't have any of those problems, but I have problems with my gut every time I eat. Then I could better steer you into what you should take. But it's got to be based, it's funny because it's still based on you. I'm just making the products. You have to tell me what direction you want to take it, and that way you may find you need about 2 or 3 of them. And then if you find out you need 2 or 3 of them, I give you a regimen. For instance, I knew somebody that had stomach issues and they had high blood pressure and they had arthritis. So I gave them about 2 or 3 different bottles and I told them, hey, take this in the morning, take this at night. Typically speaking, again, things for the blood are best to be taken at night. Things for digestion are best to be taken first thing in the morning. So, good brother, find out a little bit more from your primary. You have a doctor. And if you don't have any issues at all, which is a blessing, find out does your daddy had something? Did your grandma have something? Did somebody in your family line have something? And that way I can steer you in the right direction. Say, hey, this and this is for this. You said you have this. I got this for that. That's the most honest way and healthiest way and effective way to deal with the healing.
Cole, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Let's put ourselves in the right position. Pre-game to greater things.
Start building your retirement plan at thisispretirement.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Yes. We're back on the Truth Radio Station 101.7. This is the Grapevine, and I'm Manan, your host for today. But on today, we got King Kamazi. He's in the building. He blew it up. Got a couple of freestyles out of him. Thank you so much. But we got some rapid fire questions. We're going to make these rapid fire questions a little longer because, we're going to make it happen. We're going to make it happen. We need to understand, because understanding is king. And we got King Kamazi in the building. So our rapid fire questions, they consist of you thinking quick, you thinking on beat, as usual, having rhythm. Let's see what you got. You ready? All right. So, what part of Milwaukee made you who you are today?
The east side, off the east. And when I say the east, there's the east and the east side. The east side is across the river. When we say the east, I'm talking about Houghton, Buffum, Richards, Hadley, you know what I'm saying? Townsend, the east.
NWA or the Sugar Hill Gang?
Oh. You know what? They're 2 different eras. And yeah. NWA is, man, that's a whole attitude and a whole era. But me personally, because the first rap record I ever heard was Sugar Hill Gang, so that's a no-brainer. I'm going to go with Sugar Hill.
I'm Bad or Mama Said Knock You Out?
By Cool J, both of them by Cool J, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm Bad. I know Mama Said Knock You Out, the beat was crazy, but I'm bad. I'm notorious. I crush you like a jelly bean. I'm bad. I'm bad. Other rappers know when to enter the center. They say, yo, there he go. LA Cool J is a monster. Don't get it twisted, a monster.
Best hip-hop summer anthem ever?
Even though you got to go with Fresh Prince summertime.
Yeah.
You got to go with Fresh Prince, you know.
Watermelon juice or apple juice? Both fresh, homemade.
Watermelon. There's only one watermelon above all. Only one juice I'll take more, or one water I'll take over watermelon, and that's the top-notch coconut water. Beside that, watermelon is king.
Jamaica or St. Lucia?
I've never been to St. Lucia. I have to say Jamaica. Big up on Marasta Mandem and Jamaica. Yeah, big up.
Cardio or lifting weights?
Oh, you know what's so crazy? If you would ask me 20 years ago, hands down, lifting weights. But I'm going to tell you, what makes me feel better? Cardio. I just did 2 miles earlier today, and I got weights at the crib. See, weights make you feel good, like, yeah. But cardio, you feel life. Cardio's king.
Greatest rap album ever?
Whoo.
There isn't, like, you can't even, but greatest rap album ever.
I got so many. I just say one of the many.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy I got two. And y'all never think that I would say the second one.
Mm-hmm.
I got to go with Nas's first joint.
Oh, yeah. Nas, Illmatic, Keep Static Like Wool Fabric.
Man.
Pack Formatic,
Crack your whole cabbage. Without a doubt. And then AZ.
Yeah. Oh,
but,
yeah.
And this is crazy because I'm not a fan of dude's music.
Mm-hmm.
But his first album and every other album after that was not a classic. 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying.
Yeah.
And 50.
Older people listening to it, younger people listening to it.
Here's what it is about that album. 50 didn't have no skips. You had production by Dre. You had some production by all type of people. That first one, and I'm not, 50 Cent is not really that good of a rapper to me, but that album is one of the best ever.
And last question before we get to where people can find you. Best food spot after a late night studio session, because I know you had a lot of them.
In Milwaukee?
Yeah. You could go in the world. You know, it's all we worldwide. We worldwide.
It's crazy because late night food, Milwaukee might not be it because everything good is closed.
Yeah.
Oakland Gyro's decent, but everything you really want. It'd probably be some place in a different country I forgot where I could get whatever we wanted at that time.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Because if you in Kenya, you hit the little joint, little.
Because you've been
to
my country before, right?
I haven't. I've been to Ghana.
Okay,
and I know about them late nights, man. I know about those. It got to be all over the Africa, man.
All over Africa.
I've been to Thailand.
All third
China.
world is like that everywhere.
It's everywhere. You wake up and you're like, man, I'm hungry, and you just walk 1 block. It's right there.
It's right there.
It's right, and it's popping.
And it's fresh and it's popping.
It's
like
popping.
You said. Yep.
Yeah, it's popping. Listen, we got a song of the day, but before we get to the song of the day, where can people find you?
They can find me, King Kamanzi, on all major platforms, on Spotify. You can find me on FB. I got Red Hydrant Juice Group on FB. Red Hydrant, remember this is a brand. That's Red Hydrant, REDHYDRANT. Instagram, TikTok, Red Hydrant. You can order my products, inbox me. My music, King Kamanzi, YouTube channel, King, KAMONZI. Just type it in. And more importantly than find me, just find yourself.
That's right. And Milwaukee doesn't need saving. We can save ourselves.
Save ourselves. Self-saver.
Self-saver. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. I love you, brother. Thank you all for listening to The Grapevine. I'm out of here. We got to tap in. And we got MJ coming up next with Pretty Woman. Stay tuned. Boom.
Everything costs, but love is free.